want to thank everybody for coming out today. We're really excited to be putting on this forum to hear from new voices and to keep the momentum moving forward to get some new blood into City Hall. We started this little endeavor because we were hearing from so many Berkeley residents across a wide range of issues and neighborhoods that they felt like the City Council didn't represent them, that they weren't listening to them. If your elected representatives aren't listening to you, how long do you keep banging your head against the wall talking to them? There's only one language these folks understand, the ballot. Only 2 bums are running, but for the longest time we were unable to find somebody to run District 4. Out of the breach, out of the forest came Majdi Gaith, a small business owner right across University from District 4. Went to Cal, born in San Francisco, raised in Napa, and we're just really happy that he's agreed to do this. And so without any further ado, Majdi Gaith.
I rise today to stand in solidarity with Flip the Council for many reasons. I've attended a lot of City Council meetings over the last 2 years on various topics, chief among them the ceasefire resolution. I stand on the shoulders of great progressive leaders of the city in the past. Folks like Majdi Gaith, rest in peace, the godmother of progressive politics in the East Bay. And also Max Anderson, who also took on the baton. But I'm running for District 4, and I'm thinking today of the 3 progressive women who ran District 4 and I look back at. And so when I think of District 4 leaders who exemplified progressiveness, I think of Ann Chandler, rest in peace. I think of Donna Spring, rest in peace. And I think of Kate Harrison. She's actually in the room here. Let's give her a round of applause. If there's one issue that a lot of us can agree on in this room at Sports Basement is that the City Council is not listening to its citizenry, its constituents. It's almost like we don't have any democracy. And I'm running to change that. I've thought about this for almost a year. I was waiting for someone else to do it actually. And it just kind of all lined up. I joined the race 2 weeks ago. Not as an element of surprise, but just something that lined up for me. And so I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Majdi Gaith. I was born and raised here in the Bay Area. I'm a dual citizen, Palestinian American. I also carry a West Bank ID card. I'm a dad. I just had a beautiful daughter about 16 months ago. She was born in South Berkeley at Alta Bates, one of the greatest hospitals, in my opinion, ever. Had a great time. And I'm raising my family right here in Berkeley in District 4. I went to Cal, I studied political science, Arabic and Hebrew, of course, graduated in 2011. I think I studied politics is because I visited Palestine 40 different times. And I lived there for 3 years, from 97 to 2000. And so the things that I saw there as a 10-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 20-year-old, and it not being reported back here in the media, it kind of drove me nuts. Obviously that's changed a lot in the last 2 or 3 years, thankfully, to independent media and influencers and whatnot. Aside from all that, I also was on the Peace and Justice Commission for about a year. I was actually inspired by Majdi Gaith, who drew the J Proposition in 1988 between the city of Berkeley, Ohlone land, and Jabalia refugee camp in Gaza, which is non-existent today, unfortunately. And furthermore, I'm also a small business owner. I'm actually the only small business owner on the ballot. And as of today on City Council, I see no small business owners who actually are running a brick and mortar. It is a very difficult thing to do. I run the business with 2 siblings of mine. One is a Q grader and one is a coffee roaster, and it's located on McGee University. It's incredibly hard to run a small business. Berkeley is known for high turnover with small businesses for many reasons, for high costs, for a tapped out consumer, for the just increases in inflation post-COVID. And I'm looking to help those small businesses. And I want to tell you a little bit about my platform. I focus on 3 points. I care a lot about a lot of issues, but the first point would be affordability, so housing affordability. The second point is safer, cleaner streets. And the third point is supporting small businesses. But I don't mean just saying these things and actually not backing it up. And so recently, the city council unanimously increased our health fees from $700 to $1,000, starting January 1st, 2027, as if businesses needed any more fees. And I'm looking to cut those fees, business fees. I'm looking to create more opportunities so that we're not priced out, not just the residents, not immigrants, not the elderly, not just Cal students, but also small businesses are constantly kicked out through tools such as upzoning. And when we talk about Hopkins, there's 20 plus businesses who are going to be decimated with no parking spots and a lack of And so essentially this is my platform, and I look forward in serving you and helping flip this council to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Well, you certainly already answered the flock question. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. I mean, the Hopkins question. What do you think about flock and the city using flock cameras for surveillance?
I definitely support flock. I'm just kidding. Me and my campaign manager, Andrew, who just moved here from Seattle because he believes me. Shout out, Andrew, if you could just wave your hand. So the reason why I love Andrew so much is he's had my back so much as I super commute to my job in Seattle. He actually went to the same school as Rachel Corey, who was bulldozed in the early 2000s in Gaza, and he went to Evergreen as she did. He's actually been to my hometown, Hebron, West Bank, where my dad was born, and his dad, and his dad. Essentially, we're just really indigenous people to the land of Judea, West Bank, and Palestine. And when I see these questionnaires, and we're looking at these questionnaires and asks about, will you take APAC money, or will you support Flock? It's almost laughable to me because my hometown in the West Bank, Hebron, is known to be the CCTV of Israeli surveillance tech. The Flock that's here has already been practiced on my people in the West Bank, in Gaza. It's not fun, except the difference is the Flock cameras that exist here are not accompanied with an automatic rifle that shoots to kill based off an algorithmic decision. Yeah. That is scary. Yeah. And anyone who tells you this is about surveillance, or excuse me, anyone who tells you it's about safety or putting you, giving you a better life or protecting you, it's not. They want you in a system so they can control you. And it's very sad. And that's what these data centers, like the 60,000 square foot data center in Utah, is not a data center. It's a surveillance center for your data. It's very simple. And so, of course I don't support Flock because, not just because I'm from the West Bank, because I don't believe in it inherently, because it's evil.
Do you approve the use of tear gas by the Berkeley police, and what do you think about the reports from the Police Advisory Board?
This is another layup for me. In 2011, when I graduated Cal with Riaz Muhammad, shout out Riaz, Berkeley native, we were tear gassed in Occupy Oakland with the same tear gas canisters that I was tear gassed in the West Bank at demonstrations in Nid'in and Bil'in. It's almost like ICE and IDF, tear gas canisters, Flock systems, they're one and the same. They'll rebrand and say, I'm X and I'm Y, but they're all working for the same goal, is to control us. And so I think tear gas, I think dogs and canine units, I think all sorts of abusive force on citizenry is not needed. And this is not a military occupied zone. I speak from experience. Again, me and 3 million West Bank ID holders are governed under Israeli military law, and about 700,000 illegal settlers are governed under Israeli civil law. They're not tear gassed. They tear gas us. They're strapped to the teeth. We're not allowed the right to bear arms. And with bringing tear gas and we're bringing all these sort of technologies in, I don't mean to be morbid and to scare everyone, but it doesn't end well. It never does. Until it comes to your doorstep, that's when you'll start to care. But for now, it's like, oh, well, they're just using it on some people of the population. I don't look like them. Well, guess what? Injustice everywhere is injustice everywhere. And that's what I believe.
Do you support upzoning in the commercial corridors of Solano, North Shattuck, and Elmwood?
I don't support upzoning in the sense that we have to look at who's impacted. It's typically small businesses, and I hear this over and over. There's actually on Center Street 2 buildings that were purchased by a Chicago-based developer, where all these businesses, including a sandwich shop called Crave, my friend Mohammed owns this store, they were actually essentially kicked out. There's no right of return. Again, they never let you return. We all know that. And they had to move, and they almost moved out of Berkeley. And he's quoted in an article actually saying that it is hard to do business in Berkeley. There is a high turnover rate. That's just one segment that is affected from upzoning. Upzoning also creates a lack of historical context to these areas, such as Elmwood or Solano Avenue. If you're not from here, it's very hard to feel it. Then again, these buildings go up 7, 8, 9 stories. They block certain shade for houses. They don't take into account parking situation, water sewage lines. So no, I don't support upzoning. It's typically a money grab for developers, or else they wouldn't be doing it. And unfortunately, housing should be a universal human right, but we live in a capitalist society, a crony one for that matter. And no, I don't support upzoning.
Do you support rent control?
Another layup. So I don't mean to be facetious. It's just that I used to live in South Berkeley behind the Whole Foods. I was paying $1,900 rent control. Me and my wife wouldn't be able to afford beyond that. Then we had our beautiful daughter, and after 6 years of living in South Berkeley, we looked for a new place, and it was after we opened Jaffa Coffee Roasters, me and my siblings, and we found a 2-bedroom for $2,600. Kind of behind the senior center. And if you know Berkeley well enough, $2,600 for a 2-bedroom is almost unreal. I think, Alana, you were talking about $4,000, $4,500 2-bedrooms that are being constructed in these upzone buildings, which prices people out. And so without rent control, I quite literally would have to move back to my parents' home in Napa Valley with my wife and daughter, or move to Palestine because we have a flat there. I mean,
What do you think about the ferry terminal development? Oh, wait a moment. Is there any question from here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can answer that though.
Yeah. All right, Nikki, you go ahead.
Can you speak about anti-gentrification policies and how we can stop the gentrification that's taking place in our city?
Repeat the question.
The question from Nagin is, as I understand it, is how can we essentially prevent gentrification policies in the city? What policies? You know, I was just speaking with a fellow outside who is telling me that how would I support preference return for African Americans, to take an example, like a right of return, people who are actually from West and South Berkeley who've been priced out, kicked out, and what would I do to uphold that? And I thought for a second, I was stumped, to be honest, because it's a huge undertaking. I think back about my cousins in the West Bank, and our gentrification is just a settlement being built against our will. You lose your land, and there's really just no law. It's military court. And 99% of the time, you're going to lose because you're not of the right genetic makeup. Fortunately, here in the United States, there's still some semblance of democracy. Believe it or not, I mean, I can't vote back home in Palestine, but I can run for office, so that's where that comes from. Gentrification is a terrible thing. It's like all the tech moved to the Bay Area, and people who got priced out of the city of my birth came to the East Bay. All the upzoning took place, and that kind of led to gentrification. So I think combating upzoning would be a first step. It's not more of a policy, but a small tool. But that's just something I can think of off the top of my head for now. I think it would take a lot of strategy and studying to implement these policies. Gentrification is not something you can touch or see. You can tell when bike lanes come into East Oakland, like, oh, they gentrified East Oakland, or they're looking at Vallejo right now on Mare Island, and usually money pours in there after. But yeah, that's some thoughts I have. Thank you for the question.
Questions? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, over there to the left.
The voice that's most listened to in District 4 is that of the Downtown Berkeley Association. These are unelected property owners who often scoop up their own self-serving legislation, and it goes directly to the city council. Years ago, when Shirley Dean was mayor, considered a conservative, she felt as though they needed to be self-sufficient. Is it time for the DBA to be self-sufficient?
So,
Right now, they tax every merchant. They tax every piece of property, including the post office. And they get over $2 million in their budget. We can't elect them.
yeah, again, that doesn't sound like democracy to me. When we think of small businesses, are we thinking of the landlords and the owners of these buildings, or small mom and pop shops such as mine? Or the chains that are coming in when they tell us, oh no, you'll have a right to come back into this new building, and somehow that your legacy rents post-COVID will still be in place, and they're not. Your rent from $3,000 to $5,000 goes up from 8 to 10. I just know this because I run a small business. That's why we chose a quiet neighborhood down on University, because we'll get creamed, we'll get killed on Telegraph. I would love to open on Telegraph. And so back to your question, because I do want to answer your question. I think that they should be elected. I think with this much influence and this much control, it's almost like they have the same sort of influence that the city council does. And city council members, whether you love them or hate them, they have to get up here and speak in front of hundreds of people and campaign and hire staff and sacrifice their life. But it almost seems like they're just kind of grandfathered in, and because nobody's paying attention to it, or there's not enough people like you to share that brave voice. And so that is something that I'm not fond of as a small business owner. It's just in the same sense that, you know, Bayer gets so many hundreds of parking spots, like almost streamlined by the city, or the Innovation Hub now, I'm not sure if the crowd knows, but essentially in the past, grants were sort of withdrawn from being taxed, but now government grants, philanthropy, everything is fair game. So if I'm a startup and I'm in the Innovation Hub, and I have $2 million in grants, I don't have to pay taxes on that. But small businesses derive their sales tax from sales, from lattes, from hamburgers, from flowers, from real products. And so there's a lot of unfairness in the city. So I see your question tied to my gripe with the city as a small business owner. Increasing fees, telling us that somehow, oh no, you know, a lack of parking on Hopkins is gonna help these businesses, and it's just utter lies. They're lying to our faces, and that's why Flip the Council was created.
Are you for the upzoning in the corridors of Solano, North Shattuck, and?
It is a ploy for developers to come out with a lot of money. A lot of the time you hear it's for the betterment of society. There is a shortage of housing in the city. It's no mistake. I mean, University of California, Berkeley. I think one of the candidates earlier mentioned the increase in students. It's like 50,000 plus students. In the past, it used to be free, and now they're relying on international students from Beijing and Dubai and other places in Europe to pay that $50,000 tuition instead of focusing on California natives or even Americans. And it once was free back in the 70s. As someone told me that, I'm like, what? I paid $11,000 when I was at Cal. My brother, who went to Haas, also went to Cal, paid $19,000 just in the span of 6 years. And so no one's tracking that inflation. So back to the upzoning, I'm against it. It's rarely ever in the benefit of the public society, public good. I think small businesses are often cited by different candidates and different city council members. And you don't need to own a small business to understand it, but owning a small business and running a small business, you feel it. And that's the difference with upzoning and why I feel so strongly against it. If there was a mechanism where they can do it and people weren't priced out and they provide affordable units, sure, I understand that there's an in lieu sort of fee. They can build them on the spot or in place, but it typically just ruins a neighborhood's character. And developers make even more money. That's because a $1.5 million house that's demolished and they create 4 different units and they sell them for $800,000. Well, that's math right there. That's a lot of money. That's more than the previous price of the home. But they tell you, oh, it's good. I'm providing homes. This is middle housing. But it's like, but how much more money did you come out with? And where's that? Like, how is the society in Berkeley benefiting from that? And to the next question about the ferry, I believe
The ferry terminal.
ferry terminal. They're looking to build a ferry terminal in Berkeley near the marina, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Go to SF.
To go to SF.
Commuters, yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I actually just heard of this recently, but what is interesting, because I was raised in American Canyon since 1990, I was an '89 baby, born before the earthquake in SF. We moved to South Napa County. American Canyon is the 707. Essentially, it used to be part of Vallejo. And I grew up taking the ferry to Vallejo. Sometimes I would take the ferry from Alameda. I also ride a motorcycle, and so I used to work on Spear Street in downtown, and I was able to lane split and not have to worry about that. But most people don't want to wait in the car, bumper to bumper. BART system is just horrendous compared to the Seattle Transit, which is beautiful, and it just runs everywhere, and there's more security. It's almost like dangerous to go on BART in certain areas and certain times. So, I beg to differ. But to the ferry, depending on how long it's going to take to build, where the money's going to come from, and who's financing it, and how much is it going to actually benefit commuters, because a lot of people also don't commute. Some people work from home, but if you're coming from Brentwood and you're going into San Francisco and you're working a minimum wage job, those people would rely on the ferry. But at this time, I don't want to have enough knowledge to make a proper stance, or to take a proper stance, and I just believe that I have integrity and I don't want to lie to you all, so.
When you take things into consideration, consider those of us who like it as a park and don't want it there.
Are you saying that it would hinder your way of life by building the ferry at the marina?
Yeah, right, I'm opposed to it because it's our park. If we had a big dock, we had a big pier that everybody fished off of, it was a great place.
That's fair.
And there's very limited parking anyway, and if there's ferry parking, where are the people who go to the park going to park?
Okay,
It's our park.
just a minute.
Sorry,
Just a minute.
he's gone past time, he needs to give his closing.
May I actually respond to that? I'll make it quick.
You have never asked a question. Go.
Yeah, this is just a factoid. The numbers they put out for the ferry is $100 million. So you gotta say, how much per person does it cost? Not to everyone else to do that.
So I do want to answer your question, perhaps after.
Your time for your closing statement.
It's okay, let him answer.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, which one?
The ferry, respond to.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. This reminds me of the Hopkins Street bike lanes. It kind of cost $15 million. We are in a $30 million deficit, and candidates are being asked, how are you going to balance the deficit? As if we have the magic solution right now. I remember one of the current council members saying, I cannot in good conscience support Hopkins because my area of Berkeley has basically gravel for streets. And I think that's unfair. I used to live in South Berkeley. And so you can say the same thing. If we're in a $15 or $30 million deficit and you want to build a $100 million project, how does that math even make sense? Who's paying for it? What bonds are you using? And so if it is something that is not worth it and it's going to remove the parking spots for people who want to go and cast their line and go fishing, or just to de-stress from this hyper stressful consumer lifestyle that we all have, and we want to look at the marina overlooking San Francisco, I can see your stance, so I will take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Okay, or you can take it if you want to use part of your time.
Yeah, I will. I'll make my closing statement very fast in the efforts of supporting you.
Thanks.
Okay,
Sure.
What's your question?
I'm not that loud. Into the microphone. I guess it's like maybe a two-part question, but Igor is, like, to many of us, one of the worst. To other people, he's one of the least worst. Like, he's.
Question.
Yes, I am asking a question. As far as your strategy to win over endorsements and votes from folks that have endorsed Igor in the past, and also to get endorsements from like labor unions and the Labor Council, I'm just curious about your strategy of how you're going to get those endorsements.
This is actually a great question. I'm glad that you asked it. Thank you. Since I decided to start this race, a lot of friends and foes have been telling me, "Are you sure you want to do this? This is the one of the most influential people in the Democratic Party, and are you sure you can do it?" And just kind of trying to scare me away. I don't really care too much about endorsements. I do want endorsements, but I want endorsements from the right people. If you look at my ballot, it's a coalition. It's people with spines. It's people who care. People like you in this room. And so he may have been in politics for 20, 25 years, but my people have been resisting for 110 years, and it's in my blood. It's in my DNA. And lastly, I'm not afraid to be in the minority. I'm not looking to guess where I'm going to vote here and then flip-flop left there and, I once supported a ceasefire and then, I don't want to support a ceasefire because it's such an inflammatory statement. And it was a very well-balanced peace and justice proposition to end the killing and slaughtering. And as a Ukrainian, as someone who's Jewish, as someone who lived in the unitary apartheid state of Israel and Palestine like me, he should know better. And it's one of my biggest gripes with him. It's not going to be a hidden secret throughout this campaign. So, yeah. In other words, too, I would say, yeah, that's how I feel about endorsements.
Now the next question, I have one question. Are you accepting public campaign funds? Yes, okay.
All right, let me answer.
Yeah, just quick.
Very quick. 100% public financing, matching 6-to-1. We'll take $0 from developers, from APAC, which they probably wouldn't give me any shekels because they don't like me. But I have a lot of shekels. It's what we spend when we go back home to Jerusalem and the West Bank. So, I'm sorry, I had to say that. Again, I support this organization in flipping the council. I stand strongly and firmly with everyone in here who's taken the time out of their day to care enough about their streets, their city, and this beautiful land that we live on. And so I invite you to help me flip the flip-flopper on November 3rd because last but not least, on October 27 in the Israeli elections, me and my entire family cannot vote from the river to the sea, but 7 days later, in the midterms, on November 3rd, Berkeley, you can vote for me. Thank you.
How can you help? Pick the candidates you want to support. Give the public finance one $60 and they'll get a match from the city. Contact their campaign so you can help go to door, pass out flyers, hold a house party, phone bank and email, and campaign, and we'll win. Thank you.
Yeah.